Alrighty, a lot of things to talk about today. A very special guest in studio, Bryce Marshall. Hello again, my friend.
How are you doing today, sir?
Not too bad. You survived the holidays, Christmas, New Year's, all that kind of stuff. You're still in that kind of a holiday headspace right now.
Just a little bit. We had all the kids and family over at our house, and it got a little wild, but it was a lot of fun, and it's always great to be able to celebrate with family and friends.
Was Santa good to you?
He was pretty good to me. I got to go skydiving this year.
Get out of here.
Complaining. Yep, yes, sir.
It's so cool to meet someone who's also done that because you can't have a conversation about that with someone who's never done it.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't,
Exactly.
you can't describe it. So where did you go? Where did you do that?
So I did it out in Skiatook. It was at, oh goodness, I can't think of the name. Skydive Airtight, that was the name of it. So I went out there first time, super nice people, did the deluxe package where I got to do all of the different video formats. So
You
I got
have to have the video.
Oh yeah, so I got the
gosh.
whole thing on my YouTube, so I'm pretty excited.
Oh, I'm going to check that out. I'll share mine with you
Okay.
later on.
Yes.
And it's an experience. Nervous at all? What was the...
Oh yeah, I was definitely, excuse me, I was definitely nervous for sure. I was pretty scared at first when we went up there, just kind of looking outside the plane when you're looking down at the ground. I was like, okay, here we go. But with it, she didn't give me too much warning. She was like, all right, 3, 2, 1, push me out of there.
Yeah,
went
for me,
flying. So
the most nerve-wracking thing for me was actually the plane ride up. Because you just go around and around and up, and you're just praying and waiting. But I know exactly the point you're talking about when you step out. And for me, that was when I kind of calmed down because, like you said, hey, you can't turn back.
right.
No, nowhere else to go but down. Now, did you go out backwards like they do?
No, I didn't go out backwards.
Oh, you didn't
So
go out
since I
backwards?
was tied to someone for the tandem, I was up front, and then they just she was kind of like pushed us out of there and then went straight down. And it was pretty cold because it was about, they said it was 20 to 30 degrees colder up there. So I think it was maybe only 20 degrees at our peak altitude. I think it was between like 10 to 11,000 at that point.
And that 30 seconds or so of free fall seems like an eternity, but it's so cool.
Oh yeah, it actually went by super fast. I was like, man, I wanted to be up here for a lot longer. But
So
you know,
how
it
many
was
times have you watched the video since then?
probably about 5 to 10 times, honestly.
You know, like the cheeks flapping and all that kind of stuff, but it's kind of cool. All right, hey, Bryce is in to talk about something very, very cool. Now, he's kind of talked about it before, but some new news or some updates on it. Kind of tell everybody what we're talking about today.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so last time I came in, we just talked about Film Muskogee actually opening our doors and trying to get people into the city to actually film. But now our film incentive is live on our website, and we do have that out, so everyone can actually apply for that. So what the film incentive is really trying to do is get people to come here and spend money within the city. That's always the biggest deal. We want people to come in and spend money. If you spend a certain amount of money, then you also get a cash rebate back, which is the greatest thing because it usually takes us less than 30 days usually to get that cash rebate to you once we've received all those different types of receipts.
Now, when you're talking about making films and things like that, now we're not going to be making the next Mission Impossible here in Muskogee, although
It could happen.
that would be pretty cool. So it's not limited to just big budget movies. What can
Right.
people apply for? What's the criteria, so to speak?
Yeah, for sure. So there's 3 different project types that you can apply for. So you can do a feature film. So that doesn't have to be like you talked about. It doesn't have to be a huge Hollywood movie like Mission Impossible.
Oh, it's a lot of
anything like that.
independent movies that are doing really well these days.
Exactly. So we want to get all the small time filmmakers. It could be the big time, small time, doesn't really matter. What it really comes down to is all the threshold requirements. So if you're going to be making a film here, whether it be a big time or a documentary, short film, all those types of things, you do have to have a minimum budget of $50,000. And then you do also have to spend a minimum of $7,500 within the city itself. And then 50% of shooting days within the county. So it doesn't have to be just within the city itself that you shoot. It could be also the county as well, because there's also the Cherokee Film Incentive. And they have all their different criteria where you can also use some of their territory. Some of our things overlap, so you could possibly use both of them, which would be great. You could also apply for the state incentive as well. Again, those criteria are going to be much larger than ours will be typically as far as our minimum budget and how much you have to spend within the state itself, or within Cherokee Film, you have to actually spend within their reservation.
Okay, so now you said the word incentive. Is that sort of like, I don't want to use the word grant, but is that sort of kind of what that is?
Kind of in a way. That's what we had a whole group of partners with the MTA, the Muskogee Tourism Authority, who was able to get this money. And that way we have a pot of $75,000 within each fiscal year. So once that dries up, then obviously we couldn't, hand that money out to anyone who would want to keep on filming here. Again, our fiscal year ends on June 30th, starts up again on July 1st. So if we, happen to run out of money and you want to come in and shoot a film, you could wait until that next fiscal year. You could also use that if you're going to be shooting 2 different films. So there's actually a filmmaker who reached out and they said, hey, I want to shoot 2 different films, but it's actually limited to 1 individual or 1 company per fiscal year. So you could shoot 1 now, and then you can wait again until, midsummer after that new fiscal year starts up again. And then you could, apply for the incentive 2 times technically within the year. So you can work around those a little bit, and that way you can get even more of a cash rebate that way.
So if you're a budding filmmaker, or even if you know somebody in the business looking to, like you said, a documentary or music videos are a big thing now too, because the cost level you said is pretty low on a music video.
Yeah, music video is actually another one that we've been getting a lot of inquiries about, because you only have to have a minimum budget of $5,000, and then you only have to spend $100 within the city. So then with all of these different rebates, it's only 10% back on all your qualified purchases. So with the commercials or music videos, if you do that, you can get up to $5,000 back. So if you only spend, that $100, you get 10% back. It's only going to be $10, of course. So you want to keep spending within the city. That's what that
would say over my head, but I'm sure. I'm just thinking about if Blake Shelton wants to shoot his next video here.
Right.
And people say, well, what's the big deal? Well, you got to think about it this way. If Blake Shelton or whoever comes and shoots a music video here, you know what that does to the economy?
Exactly.
It's going to create jobs. You're going to have extras. You're going to have catering, crew, production, all that stuff, and it has to be local. That's the incentive to bring some of the stuff here to the Muskogee area, which I think is a great idea.
Yeah, for sure. And banking off that, if you do shoot a feature film here, it's not required that you hire Muskogee residents, but if you do, then you are more preferable to actually get that cash rebate and actually be approved for that. So that's another incentive that kind of goes along with it. It's not technically in the guidelines, but we do kind of have that mark within the application itself that if you do hire within the city, then we're going to preferably give you that cash rebate and a pre-rebate.
All right, so where again can people go? Bryce Matthews is joining us. If you're a budding filmmaker or a commercial maker, music video, anything like that, where do people go to find out all these rules and guidelines that they need to know?
So that's going to be filmfriendlymuskogee.com. You can see all of our different things there. We're actually about to launch a new website, hopefully within February, so it's going to look super nice and neat. And that'll actually merge within visitmuskogee.com. If you want to actually see the application itself, you can go to visitmuskogee.com, and you'll see in the top right corner, it'll say Film Muskogee. You hover over it, and it will show the application, all the things that go along with that, as long as the guidelines and also all the different rules that go along with it as well. If you want any kind of reminders, you can download those.
Well, that's cool. Again, if you know anybody out there in the showbiz world, tell them, hey, Muskogee's opening up our doors. Come on down and shoot here. I mean, there's some awesome buildings. There's some locations. There's land. I mean, there's a lot of cool places, I think, that would make a great music video. A great commercial, great documentary, and even maybe the next Tom Cruise movie. Who knows?
That's
You'd never know. All right, Bryce, well, thank you so much for coming in. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you.
I believe it's January 2nd already.
I don't believe it.
Anyway, check it out. Bryce, thank you so much for coming in. Coming back with more.